Let me start by asking a simple question. Would you rather have this HUD in your game? Or a HUD like this? Some of you might lean towards the first option. More information, big numbers, vibrant visuals and a sense of everything being at your fingertips. Others might prefer the second, minimal, clean and focus on only the essentials. Based on this choice alone, I could make an educated guess about the types of games you enjoy. But that's not what I want to focus on. Because in reality, this question doesn't have a straightforward answer. Each game conveys different information to its players and adopts its own approach to what it wants to share. Let's revisit the two examples from the beginning. The first HUD, typical of a mobile RPG or MMO, overflows with details. Vibrant colors, quest markers, damage numbers, cooldown timers, health and mana bars, and more. It's an all-encompassing display meant to immerse you in action and progression. In contrast, the second HUD from Escape from Tarkov is strikingly minimalistic. Known for its unforgiving mechanics, Tarkov provides players with only the bare essentials: your health and stance. It emphasizes immersion and forces the players to rely on their instincts rather than a flood of on-screen guidance. This stark contrast highlights why the question of which HUD is better can't be answered without understanding the context. And that's exactly what makes HUDs so fascinating. Their purpose, design, and effectiveness are deeply tied to the kind of experience a game wants to deliver. Take a moment to think about the role of a HUD. It's not just a collection of on-screen elements. It's a window into the game world, bridging the gap between the player and the gameplay. Whether the goal is to enhance immersion, simplify mechanics, or bombard you with satisfying feedback, the HUD plays a central role in shaping how we interact with games. But let's dive deeper into how HUDs are crafted and what makes them truly shine. Imagine this. You're deep in a tense moment of gameplay. Maybe you're dodging gunfire in a frantic firefight, or perhaps you're cautiously navigating a sprawling dungeon. Your eyes flicker briefly to the corner of your screen. Your health bar's dangerously low. In another corner, your ammo count reminds you that you're down to the last magazine. But what happens next? You will adjust your strategy instantly. All of this happens within seconds. And yet, without that display, you might have never had the chance to. HUDs are everywhere in games. So much that we rarely stop to think about them. They sit quietly on our screens, feeding us vital information. Yet they rarely demand our attention outright. But what makes a good HUD? Why are some so seamless that you hardly notice them, while others stick out like a sore thumb? Think about the games you love. Chances are the HUD in those games played a big role in how much you enjoyed them, even if you didn't consciously realize it. A well-designed HUD fades into the background, keeping you focused on the gameplay. But if it's poorly executed, you will notice it immediately, whether it's cluttered, unintuitive, or even distracting. So the question is, what is a HUD really? At its core, a HUD is a tool. It's there to communicate key information to the player. How much health you have, how many enemies are left, what direction you're heading. But it's more than just a collection of numbers and icons. It's a window into the game world. A layer that connects us to the systems beneath the surface. Think of the sheer variety of games that exist. Each one has its own unique tone, pacing, and gameplay goals. The HUD has to reflect all of that. In a fast-paced shooter like Call of Duty, for example, you need instant access to information. You need ammo counts, minimaps, and objectives, because the action never stops. Every split-second decision matters. On the other hand, a game like Journey has no HUD at all. But why? The focus isn't on managing resources or achieving specific goals. It's about immersing yourself in the world, the name-giving journey, and the emotional experience you have with it. This variety highlights an essential truth about HUDs. They are never a one-size-fits-all. They must serve the game they are designed for, enhancing its unique mechanics and atmosphere. But there's more to this than just matching a HUD to a game's tone. It also has to complement the player's interactions with the game. For example, in RPGs like Skyrim, the HUD often includes detailed menus for inventory, stats, and skills. These menus are complex but necessary, as they reflect the depth of the game. Meanwhile, in action games like Doom, the HUD is stripped down to the essentials. You have ammo, health, and armor, because the game is about speed and instinct and not about stopping to micromanage. Ultimately, the HUD isn't just about displaying information. It's about shaping the player's experience. It tells you what's important and what you should focus on, and how you should feel. One of the biggest challenges in HUD design is finding the perfect balance between information and immersion. A HUD has to provide you with everything you need to play, but it can't be so intrusive that it breaks the flow of the game. It's a delicate balancing act, and when done well, the results are incredible. Take Overwatch for example. This team-based shooter is pure chaos. Bright colors, explosive abilities, constant movement. The HUD in Overwatch is masterfully designed to cut through that chaos and provide clarity. Health bars are bold and color-coded, making it easy to track your status even when in the heat of a battle. Cooldown timers for abilities are clear and visible, so you're never guessing when you can use them again. And the ultimate ability icon is prominent, making it impossible to miss when your game-changing move is ready. Now let's contrast that with Escape from Tarkov, a game known for its brutal realism and unforgiving mechanics. Tarkov's HUD is the complete opposite of Overwatch's. It's stripped down to the bare essentials, just your health and stance. There's no minimap, no glowing quest markers, no flashy indicators. Because Tarkov is all about tension and immersion. It wants you to feel the weight of every decision. It wants you to rely on your instincts and awareness rather than a flood of on-screen data like in Overwatch for example. These two examples of HUDs couldn't be more different, yet they both work perfectly for their respective games. Overwatch thrives on clarity and fast-paced feedback, while Tarkov builds its identity around minimalism and immersion. If you swap their HUDs, both games would lose a crucial part of what makes them so special. This balance between information and immersion isn't just about the amount of data a HUD presents, it's also about how it presents it. Clarity is key. A cluttered or confusing HUD can ruin even the best designed game. But when a HUD is clean, intuitive and integrated seamlessly into the gameplay, it becomes almost invisible. And that's when you know it's doing its job. Another fascinating aspect of HUD design is how it integrates, or doesn't integrate, into the game world itself. Most HUDs are non-diegetic, meaning they exist outside the world of the game. They are overlays that players see, but characters don't. Think of the minimaps and ammo counters in games like Halo or The Legend of Zelda for example. But some games take a different approach with what's called a diegetic HUD. This means the HUD exists within the game world itself, becoming a part of the narrative and environment. One of the best examples of this is Dead Space. Instead of a traditional health bar, your health is displayed on the spine of your character's suit. Ammo counts appear as holograms projected from your weapon. These elements feel like they belong in the world, enhancing immersion while still delivering the vital information the player needs. Diegetic HUDs are incredibly effective when done well, but they are also really challenging to pull off. They require careful design to ensure they are both immersive and practical. In Dead Space, the diegetic HUD works because the game is completely designed around it. The slower pacing, the focus on tension, the detailed environments. All of these elements support the idea of a HUD that's part of the world. But diegetic HUDs aren't always the right choice. Imagine trying to play Call of Duty with a diegetic HUD. Your ammo count displayed as a tiny number on the side of your gun. It might look cool, but would be frustrating and impractical in the fast-paced chaos of the game. This highlights an important truth about HUD design. There's no single best approach. The right HUD for a game depends entirely on the experience it's trying to create. HUDs don't just convey information. They shape how we think, feel, and play, as said before in the beginning of the video. A good HUD can guide you without you even realizing it, subtly influencing your decisions and emotions. Take the concept of feedback, for instance. When you land a critical hit in a game like Borderlands, the HUD responds instantly. Numbers flash on the screen, often in bold, vibrant colors. It's a small thing, but it's deeply satisfying. It taps into our brain's reward system, making us feel accomplished. This kind of feedback is crucial in keeping players engaged. But HUDs can also create tension and unease. In survival horror games like Resident Evil, your health bar often dwindles into the red, accompanied by unsettling visuals and audio cues. These HUD elements heighten the sense of danger, making every decision feel more urgent and impactful. In action-packed environments like Monster Hunter Wilds, the health bar even becomes dynamic, waving to grab the player's attention, almost signaling that a powerful attack is coming. Even the absence of a HUD can have a psychological impact. Games like Journey or Shadow of the Colossus use minimalism to evoke a sense of wonder and introspection. Without constant reminders of objectives or stats, you're free to lose yourself in the world because you have nothing else to think about. But not every HUD gets it right. While a well-designed HUD enhances gameplay, a poorly crafted one can frustrate players and even ruin a game. The most common mistake, you ask? Clutter. Overloading the screen with too many elements, icons, bars, notification, leaves players feeling overwhelmed. Instead of focusing on the action, they are stuck deciphering a chaotic interface. Early versions of World of Warcraft fell into this trap, bombarding players with information until mods provided relief. Another frequent issue is ambiguity. A HUD must be clear and intuitive, but vague symbols or unclear layouts force players to guess. The game Aliens Colonial Marines suffer from this, with hard-to-read ammo counters and poorly explained mechanics, leaving players confused and disconnected. Some HUDs fail because they are poorly integrated into the gameplay, with intrusive pop-ups or redundant prompts breaking immersion. Assassin's Creed Unity serves as a prime example, where an overabundance of icons and markers cluttered the screen, distracting players from the beautifully detailed world. This issue is so prevalent that the Toggle HUD mod, which allows players to disable the interface entirely, has become one of the game's most downloaded mods, a testament on how much players value an unobstructed experience. And lastly, there's irrelevance. If a HUD displays unnecessary information or redundant details, it wastes space and distracts from the game. Final Fantasy XV, for example, overloaded its HUD with quest reminders and icons, pulling attention away from its breathtaking environments. These pitfalls show that bad HUD design isn't just an annoyance, it actively diminishes a game's potential. But when designers listen to feedback and refine their approach, even flawed HUDs can be salvaged. A HUD should be a tool that enhances the player's experience, not a barrier to it. HUDs are easy to overlook. They are designed to be unobtrusive after all. But when you stop to think about them, you realize just how essential they are. The best HUDs are invisible when they need to be, and unmistakable when it matters most. They enhance immersion, guide our decisions, and shape the way we interact with the game world. They are the unsung heroes of game design, quietly working in the background to ensure we stay connected to the worlds we love. So next time you're playing a game, take a moment to appreciate the HUD. Notice the thought that went into its design, the way it communicates without words, the way it enhances your experience. Because behind every health bar, every minimap, and every icon is a team of designers crafting something that's as much art as it's science. And that's what makes the HUD one of the most fascinating aspects of game design. It's not just a display, it's a bridge between the player and the game. A window into a world that feels alive and real. When done right, it's nothing short of brilliant.